Imagine stepping off a ship after 3 years away, walking toward your settlement. You expect to hear 100 people buzzing with life. Instead, you find complete silence. The homes are empty. There are no bodies, no weapons, and absolutely no signs of a battle. Everyone is gone. The only thing they left behind is a single word. Carved deep into a wooden post are 8 letters: Croatoan. 117 people vanished into thin air. Without a single drop of blood or a stray piece of clothing to point the way, this abandoned outpost became the oldest unsolved missing persons case in American history. To understand how they disappeared, we have to look at who they were. 3 years earlier, in 1587, those 117 English colonists arrived in the Americas full of optimism. They were led by Governor John White. Unlike earlier military outposts, these were families trying to build a life. Among them was White's own daughter, Eleanor, who shortly after arriving gave birth to Virginia Dare, the first English child born on the continent. These men, women, and children were supposed to plant a permanent English flag in the soil. When that entire community was wiped from the map, it created a massive historical void that researchers are still trying to fill. Almost immediately upon arrival, the colony hit severe logistical roadblocks. Their food supplies were dwindling fast, and their relationship with the local indigenous communities was growing increasingly tense. Desperate for relief, Governor White made a heavy choice. He left his daughter and newborn granddaughter behind, boarded a ship, and sailed back to England to secure emergency supplies. But he sailed straight into a logistical nightmare. England was on the brink of war with Spain. The threat of the Spanish Armada meant Queen Elizabeth ordered all English ships to stay in port for national defense. White was trapped. Months dragged on, then a year, then 2 years. Across the ocean, his family and the colonists were left waiting on the shoreline. An isolated settlement ran out of food at the exact moment a global naval conflict erupted. That perfect storm of terrible timing sealed the colony's fate. By the time White finally made it back in 1590, 3 full years had passed, which brings us back to that empty clearing, and John White standing in front of the word Croatoan carved into the wood. White knew exactly what this meant. Before he left for England, he established a strict survival protocol with the colonists. If they had to leave the island, they were instructed to carve their destination into a tree. If forced out by violence, they were supposed to carve a cross above the name. White inspected the wood carefully. The destination was there, but not a single cross anywhere. Looking at this vintage map of the region, we can see exactly what White deduced. Croatoan was the name of a nearby island and its local Native American community. The carving pointed directly there. He finally had a destination. He prepared his men to sail down the coast to find them, but a massive hurricane hit the Outer Banks. The fierce weather snapped his ship's anchor cables, nearly destroying the vessel and forcing him to abandon the search entirely. Governor White had to return to England. He never saw his daughter or granddaughter again. The investigation was frozen in 1590, leaving a direction carved in a tree, but no way to follow it. Fast forward 400 years, and modern archaeologists are still working that same cold case. Teams have spent decades digging through the soil of Hatteras Island, the modern name for Croatoan, and up near the Chesapeake Bay, looking for answers. This historical illustration shows the kind of thriving society the colonists might have encountered. The leading theory is assimilation. Faced with starvation, the English settlers likely dismantled their homes and joined the local Native American tribes just to survive. But that's far from the only hypothesis. Other historians point to darker outcomes. They suggest the colonists could have been wiped out by disease, starved during a brutal winter, or fallen victim to internal conflict that fractured the group. The problem is the physical evidence, or rather, the total lack of it. Despite centuries of searching, nobody has found a single confirmed grave, a final journal entry, or a definitive artifact proving where the main body of the colony went. We have ground-penetrating radar, DNA analysis, and satellite imagery, but the most advanced forensic tools in the world can't solve a case when the historical record has been wiped completely clean. Over time, that single carving on the wooden post changed. Croatoan stopped being a literal set of directions and turned into an enduring symbol of the unknown. We know exactly how many people lived there. We know when they were left behind, but the facts stop there. Whether they found a new family or whether they were swallowed up by the wilderness remains a total mystery. A single word is not a full explanation. The story of Roanoke survives exactly because it's incomplete. It leaves us with a blank slate, forcing every new generation to look at the missing pieces and ask themselves what they believe happened to the lost colony.